Hi everyone and welcome back to SwitchUp. Now Glen and I are a little bit excited about this one, aren't we, Glen?
Yeah, we've got some exciting news today. A couple of weeks ago now was it? We were invited to go down and try one of the stages or one of the battles for the new expansion to Monster Hunter Rise.
Exactly right, yeah. So Capcom invited us down to their London office, which was a bit special to start with. It's pretty much the reason the channel exists, Monster Hunter. And then we got to play 2 of the monsters in the new game. So yeah, we're going to have a little chat around the game, a talk before obviously our review comes out to try and fill you in on some of the new features.
Yeah, exactly that. So what's it all about? Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak? Well, let's find out. And we were invited down to try one of the quests, and it was against one of the big main baddies of the new game, which is pronounced, I think I'm right in saying, Mark, as the Lunar Garon. Is that right?
Yeah, the Lunar Garon. It was a bit of a relief, really, because he doesn't have a recycled moveset or anything, does he? He's completely brand new.
Yeah, exactly that. He's known as the wolf, the ice wolf, or something along those lines. I think I'm right in saying. And it's quite telling that as soon as you see the monster, it reminded me of a werewolf. It had that look about it. Very cool design, really. No pun intended, but yeah, very very good design. Great to see. Great to fight.
Yeah, he had a few tricky moves. I think we can talk about his move set. He had that like a jumping swipe. That was like a one shot. And then he had those like few swipes, didn't he? That pushed him forward each time.
Yes. So there was a lot of evading, a lot of rolling to try and get out of the way of like the constant swipes that he aims in your direction. What I will say, I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, Mark, but not that this doesn't exist in other versions of Monster Hunter, but it was incredibly apparent how it will almost sense weakness in one of you if you're low on health or stamina, say, and go after you. I really did that. It was quite intense at times because of it, wasn't it?
Yeah, that is definitely a thing in Monster Hunter, isn't it? It's like the game, and I'm sure they alluded to this, that it really does go after weakness, and maybe that can be a part of the discussion that we'll have in a little while about the Master Rank difficulty, because maybe they've changed it.
It may well have been because it was Master Rank, because it's been a while since we've played Master Rank, hasn't it, really?
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, this is essentially G Rank. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, the environments have new creatures and things in them. There's also some things that you can use essentially as offensive or defensive weapons. There were these creatures on the walls, and we didn't actually manage to achieve it. But if you could get the Lunar Garon to ride it or to run into it, then it would essentially knock him for 6 for a few minutes, so that you could do some damage.
Yeah.
It looks like they're trying to use the environment's monster synergies a bit better this time round.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they've introduced a new mechanic that you were saying before that might negate some of the moves that you're used to.
Yeah, so you have the switch skills, whereby the skills in Rise that you could use, I think I'm right in saying it's, I can't remember off the top of my head, when you press down ZL and then you can use your wire bugs to initiate a skill, and obviously they refill over time. You have a second panel of moves that you can use. There was one for me as the Sword and Shield player, I think it was called something like the Devastation or something like that. A really good move to use every so often, and it just gives you a few more strings to your bow as you're fighting, doesn't it?
It definitely does. Yeah, they've made it intentionally not fiddly, but you certainly have to think about those moves, don't you? Having to hold one button and then press another one.
Yeah,
I guess it's something, it's going to become muscle memory, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, we played, I don't know, was it 40 odd minutes, I think, and I'll be honest, when they first introduced us to that, I was like, okay, well that's nice to know. Not going to use it today. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's too much to think about today, but I did find myself using it even in that short time frame, so it does become second nature fairly quickly.
Yeah, and it is interesting that they've given essentially every weapon class this very fast evade move.
Yes, yeah.
It's like, if you're using the greatsword, that's going to massively change the way you play.
Yeah, well that's very true actually, because obviously, as we just said, we didn't use the greatsword. I haven't used a greatsword in a while actually at all, but it was always a weapon. It's about power as opposed to speed, isn't it? So it will be interesting to see if it changes the dynamic of that weapon, having this evade move available to you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's there to make it, is it there to make it easier, or is it just there because the new monsters with the new master rank are that much more difficult? You need something extra.
Quite possibly, yeah, quite possibly. But I don't think it ever makes it easier, does it? Because even something that's there to assist you still takes a lot of skill to implement properly.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. So in terms of the monster, we've kind of spoken about the way that it moves, the way that it fights. What other monsters did we fight? A familiar one.
In this particular battle, I remember Arathalos turned up at one point, and what else there was one more, wasn't there?
We got the Seregios, haven't we?
Seregios was in the second fight, wasn't he? We had to go at the Seregios as well. That's right, yeah.
I think they've added the Seregios back in, right, into this game.
Yes, yeah, because the last time we saw him would have been in 4. Was that right? 4 Ultimate.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to add in a bit of speculation. This is not something we know. This is just a question from the community. And there's quite a lot of people that want the Gormagala back.
Yeah. Yeah, he was very cool. He was cool,
wasn't he? And then you had like the Shigaru Magala after that.
Yeah, he was like a big white version of it, wasn't it? The Gormagala had that, like, I don't know, it was like strange purple. It emitted that
yes
aura, didn't he? And I remember the first time you fought him in, I think again it was 4 Ultimate, wasn't it? It just obliterated you when you went near him.
Just annihilate me. But I have to say, for the record, we know nothing of any other monsters other than this main one that we've spoken about, and obviously the Seregios.
Yeah.
Other than that, they were saying that they've added in quite a bit of new local fauna and wildlife. I didn't actually see them, but they were saying about the ruby and gold wire bugs. Did you see those?
Yes. Yeah, I did spot them, I'll be honest, as we were fighting, but they're the sort of things that when you're playing for 40 minutes, they kind of pass you by because you're so intent at the mission in hand. So, I mean, as much as we've kind of seen them and can allude to the fact they exist, it will be nice to see exactly how they work and what they add to the game when the full game releases,
Yeah, well, I can tell you what they do right now.
I wonder which of us has got the press pack in their hand.
Exactly right. Yeah, so I shall totally just read it. But essentially they make what... it says they share the effect of making it easier to initiate wyvern riding, and they improve the wire bug gauge recovery rate. It says that the Ruby one essentially makes more damage by your mounted Punisher move. What's the mounted Punisher move? Is that when you're actually riding it and you're using it as a weapon? I can't remember.
I'm not sure, actually. I can't remember now. But the regeneration of the wire bugs is good because obviously you have that extra moveset that you can use now, so that's quite handy.
Yes, they're really refining it, aren't they? The formula of the wire bugs.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, I mean it's something that I use in Rise, but I'm very traditional with Monster Hunter. I'm a bit of a stuck in my ways old man, and I do like how it used to be. So anything that I can get away with not using that's new, I do. But if they do keep refining it, obviously, then it starts to creep into my gameplay as well.
Exactly right. Right, you're the one with the good memory. Tell me how that Dango, there's a new Dango skewer system, right? For eating before you go on quests.
Yes, yeah. So the Dangos, as they were in Rise, you picked 3 ingredients and each one gave you, or potentially at least gave you a perk in terms of your, say, health, stamina maybe, but also a skill that you could possibly get as well. In this new version of them, you pick 3, but it was the first one you picked, it increased the rate of the perk, whatever the perk may have been. I believe the second one acted as per usual, and then the third one, it actually reduced it. It made the effect weaker. So it was quite an interesting give and take of which ones do you pick, which ones do you want to have an even better chance of having, or their use be even stronger for you, and which one are you not quite so bothered about, which you'll pick last. But I don't think you had to use it. It was optional, wasn't it? You could switch between that or the Rise method of just having the 3.
Yeah, exactly right. But then we've got the follower quests, right? Yeah, so it's an interesting idea. Essentially, it allows you to do certain quests to build up your relationship with those people in town. So from that regard, there's more of a story hook. But then those people will then come and fight with you on missions, so that they'll battle alongside you. But I guess the benefit there is that if they die, you don't lose one of your lives for that fight.
Yes. Yeah.
I think I like that idea. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean. At the minute I'm kind of ambivalent towards it because we've not really seen enough to have a strong enough opinion either way. But I always like when they try something new. I'm pretty sure there were a couple of quests in previous games where you did take someone else along with you.
Yes.
Very sparingly used, but every so often there wasn't a quest like that. But yeah, I do kind of like the idea of them acting almost as like an extra life, for want of a better way of putting it. It's quite an interesting concept. It'll be interesting to see how it's implemented properly. In terms of how we got on, should we just have a quick mention of that?
Yes.
So we had 40 minutes to fight it, which as opposed to your normal 50 minutes that you get. And obviously because it's G rank, wasn't it? And we haven't played G rank for a long time. No. 'Cause it's not in Rise. And we were like, oh man, we don't want to turn up, sit at a Capcom office, with people over our shoulder watching and get mullered. So we were quite conservative to start with. We used our traps up to just to slow the monster down and do some damage, which we never do. We usually use them for for what they're intended for, to capture at the end. And we got to the end and it was trappable and we didn't have any bloody traps left, and we knocked it over with about 30 seconds to go and we were wailing on it and we ran out of time. And I do think it had seconds to live. I really do think we were that close to killing it.
On the plus side, we didn't look like absolute nabs, did we? We looked like we knew what we were doing.
No, hopefully the footage is making us look alright as we're talking.
Yeah.
So just use the good bits, wouldn't you?
Amazing experience. A big thanks to the guys over at Capcom.
Yeah, it was brilliant. Really good. Good day.
And they make good tea as well.
They do make good tea, yeah. We had to keep running out of the area to have a quick sip and then jump back in.
Exactly right. Cheers, everyone. Thanks so much for watching. Please let us know in the comments any questions that you've got, because obviously I'm hoping we'll have a full review of this one. And if there's specific things in the comments that you guys would like to know in that review, then yeah, pop them down there.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Let us know how excited you are for Sunbreak. Not long now. But yeah, it was a really good day, and hopefully, as you say, the review will be out nearer towards the time. Anyway, a quick thank you to our patrons, as always, for your continued support, and to each and every one of you for watching our videos. Take care, and until next time, happy gaming.